Welcome everybody in this series about kinds of chemical reactions, and in this video we'll know about addition and decomposition reactions. So let's get started. So at first we'll know about addition reaction, and this is the first kind of chemical reactions you'll learn everywhere. So what is addition chemical reaction? What does this mean actually? You know about addition, right? You have learned it in mathematics. Addition is just adding two numbers or two things together, and that's simply addition. And in chemistry, in chemical reactions, kinds of chemical reactions, addition is just like that. Here, addition chemical reaction is simply where two molecules or atoms are added, and that will produce a complete compound or something else. And this is simply addition reaction. So if we express this in a formula, this will look like this: A plus B will be A. That means we had molecules or two atoms, and that have been added in the product section. So let's take an example of addition reaction. Suppose you have iron, and you have also sulfur, and when they will react with each other, the addition reaction, these will produce ferrous sulfate. This is simply the addition reaction. Look at this. This reaction just follows this rule. A plus B is AB. So here we have iron and sulfur that have been added or that have been produced ferrous sulfate, which is completely an addition reaction. So let's check some extra examples of addition reaction. So now we'll learn some more examples of simple addition reactions. So, and this reaction I'll show now is very familiar or is very popular to you. You probably know about this. Suppose you have 2H2O. I'm sorry, not 2H2, not O, only 2H2, and you have O2, and when this will react with each other, this will produce simply, 2H2. This is the formula for simple water. This is the formula for water, where we have the hydrogen molecule and oxygen molecule, and when these will react with each other, this will produce simply water, right? And here this is a fully addition reaction because I have two things here and that have been added on the product section, right? So let's take a more example. So suppose you have zinc, and again you have sulfur, and when this will react with each other, they'll produce zinc sulfate. This is simply a addition reaction, right? Because I have zinc and sulfur on the reactant side, and that have been added on the product side, which is completely an addition reaction. And this just follows the previous formula I showed you, which is A plus B is AB. You see here? This just follows this rule. A plus B is AB. And this is a properly addition reaction. So now let's check the second reaction which you will always learn in the second position when you're learning kinds of chemical reactions. This is very important, and I think when you have understood the addition reaction concept, you will clearly understand the next concept of kind of chemical reactions. So decomposition reaction. So what is a decomposition reaction is actually very easy. If you have understood the concept of addition reaction clearly, you are half done on the way of understanding decomposition reaction. Because this decomposition reaction is actually the opposite of addition reaction. We have two or more atoms or molecules or compounds, and that have been added on the product side. That is the addition reaction. And in decomposition reaction, we will have a compound, a complete compound, and that will be divided into two or more atoms or molecules or compounds. This is simply a decomposition reaction. So if we write this as a formula, this will be like this. AB is A plus B. You see, that is actually the opposite of addition reaction, right? So what are the examples of decomposition reaction? Suppose you have calcium carbonate, CaCO3. So this is the complete compound. So when this will be heated, or you will heat this compound or element, and that will divide into two things, the calcium oxide and CO2 gas. This is simply the decomposition reaction. You see, this reaction follows this rule. So we have one complete compound here on the reactant side, and if we heat this or do something for a reaction, this will be divided into two molecules or atoms. Here we had calcium carbonate, and that has been divided into calcium carbonate and carbon dioxide. And this is simply the decomposition reaction. Actually the fully opposite of addition reaction. You see. So let's check some more examples. So suppose you have copper carbonate, and you have given heat to this, and this will be then divided into copper oxide and carbon dioxide. Very easy, right? So we have a full compound, copper carbonate, and as a decomposition reaction, that has been divided into copper oxide and carbon dioxide. Simply like the formula we had, AB will be A plus B. So let's take a more example. Suppose you have potassium chlorate, 2KClO3. We have potassium chlorate, two compounds of potassium chlorate, and you have given heat to this. Remember, when in a decomposition reaction, often when you're putting this sign here, you should write a more thing, that is heat. That means giving heat to this compound will break down into two things. So when we have given heat to this compound potassium chlorate, that will be divided into potassium chloride and oxygen, trioxygen molecule. So this is a simple example of decomposition reaction. We'll practice some examples of addition reaction and decomposition reaction. So first, check this reaction here. So we have ammonia, which is NH3, and plus HCl is hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid, and that has been reacted and has produced NH4Cl, that is ammonium chloride. So what kind of reaction is this? Just I wrote. What kind of reaction is this? Look at this carefully. Yes, you're right if you have said this is addition reaction, because we have two molecules on the reactant side and that have been added and produced ammonium chloride, a full compound. So this is an addition reaction. And more information here, that there is no residues on the product side. There is no residues. So you may ask, what is residues? This may be new to you. What is residues? In chemistry, any leftovers in a chemical equation or reaction is called residues. That means there is no leftovers in this reaction. And this is an important fact about addition reactions. As there is no residues here, so this is clearly an addition reaction. So this is addition reaction, right? So let's take a more example. Suppose NaCl, that is sodium chloride, and that has been reacted or given heat, and that is produced in a, that means sodium plus chloride. So what kind of reaction is this? I've written this down. What kind of reaction is this? If you have a keen eyes, you may understood just when I wrote this, because we have a full element, a compound or molecule on the reactant side, and that has been decomposes, right? Decomposes are divided into two things, two atoms, sodium and chloride. Chlorine, sodium and chlorine. So this is clearly decomposition reaction, because we had a full compound and that has been decomposes into two things on the product side. So this is clearly a decomposition reaction. So this is a decomposition reaction. So let's check a more example here. Suppose you have ferric dioxide, and that has been given heat and that has produced ferric oxide, and water molecules, 3 water molecules. So what kind of reaction is this? Check this carefully. You may understand this if you have understood the concept of decomposition reaction. Yes, this is a decomposition reaction because we have a full compound or complete compound on the reactant side, and that has been decomposed into two molecules, ferric oxide and water molecule. So we had one thing and that has been decomposed into two things. That means this follows clearly A, B will be, when this will reactor given heat, A plus B. This reaction has followed this rule. So this equation is, again, this is a decomposition reaction. Clearly, this is a decomposition reaction. So we have got two decomposition reaction. So let's check a more example problem. So suppose we have C2H4, that is called ethane, and we have bromine, BR2, and that has been reacted and produced C2H4Br2. This is called the dibromoethane. So what kind of reaction is this? If we have understood the concept of addition reaction and clearly watched the part of first problem example, you'll clearly say this is a addition reaction, because we have two molecules on the reactant side and that has been produced a full compound on the product side, and there is no leftovers or residues in the language of chemistry. So there is no residues here. There is only one full compound, complete compound. There is dibromoethane. So this is clearly an addition reaction, because this follows this rule: A plus B is AB. Right? This follows this. So this is an example of addition reaction. Clearly. So thanks for watching. If you have understood the concepts clearly, please let me know with the comments, and also put a comment below if you want some more example problems from us. And don't forget to subscribe our channel, because if you subscribe our channel, you will get notified when your favorite concepts are published as videos. And if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share it with your friends. So thanks for watching again. We'll meet with you in the next videos.